Hi, George. We've just got this next 5 minutes or so to find out a little bit more around the best time really to use TPS with a team. So maybe I can start with a question. Why would a team use it in the first place?
Yeah, good question. We've been using it primarily as a diagnostic tool to understand where the team's strengths are, where the team's development areas are. So it's helped us think about applying the right learning and development to increase the performance of the team. So that's the kind of the starting point to a certain extent. But as you know, the value of these things is often the discussion it generates.
Yeah.
And it's the conversations that then therefore happen as a result of something like this, and the actions and what's agreed going forwards. So there's an element that we might use it for diagnosis at the start of a journey. There's an element of we use it as the catalyst for conversation and agreeing what actions should we take. There's also an element of measurement. So if we have a kind of drumbeat every 6 months or so of measuring that performance, it allows us to see a trend and agree where we're continuing to need to work and where perhaps we don't need to work so hard. So in regards to sort of where we'd use it in terms of the types of teams, we've used it from everything from a sports team to a commercial team, even to a prison leadership team. And there's an element with this that we need to go back to the definition of a team.
Okay.
And I think you and I would probably agree that it's that shared purpose.
Yeah.
That everyone connects to a shared goal, to a shared purpose, and they all support each other in order to achieve it.
I suppose otherwise you've got a group of people coming together just to make a decision or two and then dispersing back into their other areas where they spend their time focusing. So
all the classic sort of we all happen to report to the same person. Makes sense because they're the obvious line manager, but they're not truly a team in that they don't interrelate and interconnect in terms of supporting each other to achieve that common goal. And the only other time which I think I'd question using it is where people have very individual objectives that might still join up to a common goal. So for instance, like a sales team, where they don't really work closely together in order to achieve a common goal. It's more about making sure they do their bit in order to do that.
Yeah. And is there a best time to use it to use TPS in the development of a team? So at the start or in the middle, or using Tuckman stuff, forming, stopping, or performing. Is there any particular time in the development that it's best suited to?
I'd hesitate to use it right at the start in forming, because there's that element of who are you and what are we all here to achieve that is probably the main focus, and there's not really any data to use team performance scan to measure at that point. So I'd focus in on some fundamental interventions and discussions around who are we, what do we want to be, vision, and a little bit of who are you in those early days. So I wouldn't do it right at the start. I'd be more comfortable doing it certainly in the storming phase, but particularly in the norming and performing stages of Tuckman, because that's often where teams are going, right, we're going pretty well here, but where's the extra 5-10% that we can get in terms of competitive advantage or just efficiency in the way that we are operating? And so it's very exciting. We've worked with a number of teams that we would regard as high performing, but want to be even higher, or teams that feel, well, we're a good team, but we've potentially become a little bit not overconfident, but perhaps comfortable, and we need to do a little bit more. Come on, where can we make some changes?
Yeah. And is it only with teams that have a designated leader, or can it be used at all in other teams?
No, it could be used in a scrum or in a project team that doesn't have a leader. We have the option of not having the leader in the questionnaire. So the leader is effectively, if there is a leader, it's included as a member of the team. One of the other areas you've just made me think about an issue potentially is where a team comes to me and says, look, we've got challenges, we've got problems. And we go, right. And they've already diagnosed the issue. And the issue fundamentally is around trust, a breakdown of trust. So for whatever reason, we need to focus in on that. So to actually run team performance scan at that point is a bit meaningless, because we know trust is one of the underpinning essentials of teams. So therefore, we would just work on that. And actually, if you can build that trust, it then allows you to run TPS off the back of it, because people are more likely to be honest and more likely to have quality discussions around the results.
Great. Thanks, George. Thanks very much. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.